Hey, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Digby, and I'm not really an expert on anything. Still, we're all pretty bored and scared and bored, and I figured I would take a shot at producing a little lesson for the Hub. So today we're going to learn 5 ways to write like Shakespeare. The first thing that pops into most people's heads when they think about Shakespeare is that ridiculous old-timey vocabulary that most of his plays are written in. Prithee, thou, screw your courage to the tuppence! But, in reality, Shakespeare was writing with the cutting edge of language at that time. In fact, he was making words up left and right, which brings us to our first lesson. Literary scholars estimate that anywhere from 400 to 1,700 words in the English language can be attributed to Shakespeare. He changed nouns into verbs, verbs into adjectives, connected words together, and came up with new words regularly. We have him to thank for words like anchovy, bedroom, birthplace, cold-blooded, downstairs, epileptic, hint, invitation, lonely, manager, nook-shotten, I don't know what that means. Pious, savage, schoolboy, shipwrecked, watchdog. All right, that's quite enough. You get the idea. Hundreds. Of course, some of these words Shakespeare took from what he heard on the street and just happened to be the first one to write them down. There's no reason you can't be the first one to write Stan into a play. The lesson? If you can't think of what word to write, make one up. We know that Shakespeare might sometimes use a word he'd heard elsewhere in one of his plays. He did that a lot with ideas, too. Romeo and Juliet were already well-known characters before Shakespeare famously killed them. The Merchant of Venice borrowed a lot from an Italian collection of stories called Il Pecorone. The main plot of Much Ado About Nothing had already appeared in stories by the authors Ariosto, Matteo Bandello, George Whetstone, Edmund Spenser, and Luigi Pasqualigo. The Comedy of Errors was largely based on Plautus's Menechme. Most of As You Like It derives from Thomas Lodge's Rosalind, and so on. Not to mention the histories, which are, by and large, ripped shamelessly from history. So, the next time you're worried that you're not original enough, remember that William Shakespeare used to cheat off Italy's paper on a daily basis. Borrow ideas and make them better. This one is less fun, but still fun. If you've ever sat down and read a Shakespeare play, you probably noticed that a lot of the lines are arranged in neat, orderly columns. This is largely because the majority of them are written with 10 syllables in a pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables. The king doth keep his revels here tonight. Two households both alike in dignity. I need a haircut. Now is the winter of our discontent. This is called IAMBIC pentameter, and it's one of the tools that Shakespeare employed to try and make memorization more easy for his actors. They didn't each carry a script around. In fact, a fully written script rarely existed at the time of performance. Instead, they had tools like meter and rhyme to create shortcuts to memorization and keep the rhythm going in their head. You don't have to meticulously count out each syllable in order to write like Shakespeare. He broke his own rules all the time. But when you do write, read it out loud. Find the rhythm. Anyone who's seen a Shakespeare play knows that he doesn't waste too much time trying to make his stories realistic. Ghosts appear in Hamlet, Macbeth, Julius Caesar, Richard III, and Cymbeline. In A Midsummer Night's Dream, fairies run amok, and a man gets turned into a donkey for several hours. The Tempest is full of magic and sorcery, from mystical music to biblical storms. In Love's Labour's Lost, several men admit being wrong about something. In writing, we often get bogged down worrying about whether something is realistic. Don't be realistic. In fact, be as impossible as possible. The most interesting story isn't the one that would probably happen, it's the one that might never happen. No one ever made history with a story about a normal, boring, realistic day. Except I think maybe James Joyce. Over the course of his life, William Shakespeare wrote around 40 plays and over 150 poems and sonnets. After his death, he continued to inspire generation after generation of actors, writers, and thinkers. Over 400 Shakespeare plays are produced professionally around the world each year, even as we get new adaptations of stories in popular works like She's the Man, 10 Things I Hate About You, Throne of Blood, and most importantly, Romeo and Juliet. We'll never know if Shakespeare's first play was published, or if his first line of poetry was crumpled up and used as kindling. What we do know is that once he started writing, he never stopped. If you truly enjoy writing, write something new whenever you can. Write as much as you can. Write like Shakespeare.
Wait. The last thing, which evidently I forgot to do, is the Hub Challenge. So the Hub Challenge that I'm giving you today is to write a sonnet. But Digby, you didn't teach us how to write a sonnet. I'm going to teach you how to sonnet right now, really quickly, in the woods. So a sonnet is a short poem composed of 14 lines with an interlocking rhyming structure. So 14-line poem, 10 syllables every line, and the last word of each line rhymes in this fashion. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, G. A sonnet can be about anything you want. When I was in high school, I wrote my first sonnet about how I was upset that the school's menu was changing. So yeah, just take it away. Write like Shakespeare. Write a sonnet. Go. And if you like what you wrote, post it on Facebook, tag Hubbard Hall, or email it in either Word or performing video form to david@hubbardhall.org, and we'll see if we can get you featured. Thank you.